So thank Professor Harzing for sharing experience with your excellent, impactful research and also other academic work. So me as a representative for junior researcher, what would you advise us based on your experience with publishing early in our career, in your career, I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's a very, very good question, and very important for junior academics. I think there's quite a lot of things that really struck me when I thought about my early articles. And the first one really is, if you look at the 95 expatriate failure rates article, I would say don't be afraid as a PhD student to call out things that you think aren't right. You need to make sure that you've done your work rigorously and that you're sure you've read all the relevant literature. But if you really feel that what has been done in the past wasn't right, then don't be afraid to write it up. I actually asked my supervisor, and he said, sure, go ahead. That's how science progresses. If people go back to earlier work and say, no, I think we should do it better. And if you are a PhD student and you found a topic where you think this is really something that should be done better, but you're worried, you're welcome to get in touch with me. And I'm happy to help you writing it up in a way that doesn't offend senior scholars, a bit like Nancy Adler helped me write my failure rates, sorry, not the failure rate article, but the follow-up article on academic referencing. So don't be afraid. And then also I would say as a PhD student, you're often advised to aim high and go for the top journals. That's fair enough, because publishing the top journal is kind of a business card, but don't discard the option of publishing in lower ranked journals. International Journal of HRM is quite a well-respected journal now, but in 95 it's only just started and it wasn't seen as a top journal. And Career Development International, which is a journal in which I published a second article on expatriate failure rate and how to improve the concept, still not a highly ranked journal. But these two journals really allowed me to write a story that I wanted to write. And that's important too, because sometimes you just have something that you think is important. So you look for the journal that will publish that rather than go for the top journal. And then the other thing, I guess, also realize that you always have a second chance to revisit a topic. When you're starting out in your career, you think that whatever you do needs to be right the first time. But you have a long academic career. You might be working in academia for 30 years, 40 years, even 50 years. So if you feel you didn't get it quite right the first time when you published an article, but you're still interested in the topic, then feel free to write about it again, just like I did with the failure rate article, and then generalize the message of the article and write about academic referencing. So you can certainly do that. And then the other thing, and that was based on the article I did with Klaus Christensen on the concept of expatriate failure. Collaborators and co-authors can come from the most unexpected corners. So be willing to work with anyone who has good ideas. They don't have to be professors. They can be students too. So don't look at their academic rank or the university they work for or their nationality or their ethnicity, their gender, their age. Just work with anyone who has good ideas and who gives you energy in discussing these ideas. I wouldn't necessarily recommend with people you've never met, but it can work. The article I did with Klaus Christensen, I've never met Klaus. I don't even know what he looks like. We only ever exchange emails. From his name, I think he's male, but I'm not even certain about that. And then the last one, and I'm not the first one to say this to junior academics, but it is important, and that's be persistent. I've written a white paper about the 4 P's of publishing. And the 4th P is persistence. But persistence is really the most important thing in academia. And every academic, even the most senior and most accomplished academic, gets rejections all the time. So there is an outlet for every article you write. You just need to find it, and never, ever give up on your work. So persist, persist, persist.